Round 3 of Eliteserien, and all the matches are played this Easter Monday, the 18th of April. Most of the games kicking off at 5 PM in the UK, with the later match at 7. And I've got 4 selections for this round, which I'm going to read out in a minute. But first of all, round 2 was really good for me. 4 picks and 4 winners. We won with Rosenborg, Vålerenga, Lillestrøm handicap, and also the overs in Strømsgodset against Molde. So it was a great round. We really rebounded well in round 2. I did with some excellent picks. So hopefully we can have 4 more winners out of 4 for this Monday. And the 4 picks I've gone with are HamKam minus 0.25 Asian handicap, Haugesund Strømsgodset over 2.75 goals, Molde versus Lillestrøm over 3 goals, and Viking minus 0.25 Asian handicap. So once again, throughout the rest of this video, I've got match previews for all 8 Eliteserien games this Monday, coming up after this. So yeah, even the ones I don't have bets in, I've gone and previewed them. So yeah, hopefully we can get a good round of bets in. Again, if you offer me now, I'd take 3 out of 4 winners, of course, but I'd love all 4 to hit. But yeah, round number 3 previews coming up after this. HamKam against Sandefjord, Norwegian Eliteserien match this Monday, 5 PM kickoff time in the UK. A newly promoted HamKam are looking for their first victory of the season. Both of the other promoted sides, Jerv and Ålesund, have already got a win on the board, and HamKam will certainly feel they should already have at least 3 points, because they were 2-0 up against Lillestrøm on the opening day. It was the first match of the entire Eliteserien season, actually. They had chances for 3, didn't take them, and then they let Lillestrøm back into the game. I'm not saying they blew that match. Lillestrøm have a good squad depth and brought on some good weapons, but I think they'll be disappointed about that. And then last week they lost at Tromsø, which is a difficult place to go. They could have drawn that, but the goalkeeper Nicholas Hagen made a really, really poor mistake when it was 1-1, and you know, that can happen. So I think HamKam are probably a little bit better than the results suggest, and they, you know, I sense they've still got this promotion bounce. They'll be desperate to get a win on the board. They really will want to get that first win back at Eliteserien level, and it could well come against Sandefjord, who, in fairness to them, have not exactly disgraced themselves at all. They beat Haugesund on the opening day 3-1. A very poor Haugesund, it must be said, but they still got to beat what's in front of you. And then, you know, they pushed the defending champions close, Bodø/Glimt, last week 2-1. So, you know, Sandefjord are no mugs on their day. Alexander Ruud Tavita scored a hat-trick in that opening match. He might be doubtful because of personal reasons again. I'd expect him back, to be honest. But they have lost their captain centre-back, Sander Foss, who's ruled out with an ACL injury for the rest of the season. Quite a big blow. Now, I like HamKam to win this game. I think, you know, they had a pretty strong home record in Obos last year. This is a far more manageable fixture. This is the easiest team they've got to face yet. Now, it doesn't mean that Sandefjord is going to roll over anything, but I think we can be taking minus 0.25 handicap. I've got the over 2.5 price here at 1.99. I think there's a good chance of there being goals in this game as well. But I think the best pick is to take HamKam on this minus 0.25 handicap, 1.95. I'm predicting a 2-1 home win. I think they get the 3 points here, and we'll take that handicap just for some draw cover, but I think HamKam win. Haugesund against Strømsgodset, Norwegian Eliteserien match this Friday, the 18th of April, 5 PM kickoff time in the UK, and it's a battle between the two sides who are currently in 15th and 16th spot in the table. Okay, we are only a couple of rounds in, but neither side has a point on the board yet, and I would say the big concern is more with Haugesund, who really have got battered twice badly. They've lost 3-1 to Sandefjord and 2-1 to Vålerenga, but they could have conceded way more goals, in my opinion. They've looked terrible defensively, especially in the air. I think they've been losing out way too many headers, and if I was Godset, I'd be getting that ball into the box high to Fred Friday, to Salverson, and I think they'll win quite a few headers. So definitely some big defensive worries for Haugesund. Noticed a more positive sign in terms of their offence, certainly against Vålerenga, so at least they are carrying some sort of a goal threat. Godset, I'm less concerned about them because, I mean, they lost to Molde, which is no disgrace at all, and the opening game against Jerv, they dominated that match. They should never have lost 1-0. But Godset do have a big problem away from home. They had the worst away record in the Eliteserien last season. Just 1 win out of 16, and they've already lost to Jerv, who may well prove to be the worst side this year. So definitely I would not trust them away, and that's why I'm not even going to bet on the match outcome here. Haugesund are favourites, but I couldn't trust them either. I like goals, and I'm actually going to get a bit greedy here. You can actually take a straight over 2.5 goals at 1.84, but I'm going to try and get an even better price on the 2.75 goal line. You need 4 goals to win the bet fully, but if there's 3 you still win half. I'm really confident there's going to be quite a few goals here, because neither team can defend at all. They're both going to go for it. Even the weather forecast is quite good in Haugesund for once, so it's a nice day for football. Both sides are desperate to try and get a win. Neither defence is very convincing, and I mean, anyone could win this, I think, but I'm going to predict a 2-2 draw, as I put there, over 2.75 goals. Just try and get the better price. I see it being end-to-end with lots of mistakes and hopefully lots of goals. Molde against Lillestrøm Norwegian Eliteserien match this Monday, 5 PM kickoff time in the UK, and this I think will be a tasty encounter. Molde are one of just 2 teams who have a 100% record still, and they've looked pretty good so far, it must be said. Lillestrøm have 4 points on the board. Now Molde have beat Vålerenga and they've beaten Stroms Godset. 2 good wins actually, because I mean the first week it should have been more than 1-0. They could have scored 4 or 5 goals, and you know, bear in mind they actually lost at Godset 6-0 last year. It's not an easy place to go, Marienlyst Stadion, and they came from behind there, so quite impressed with Molde. They also threw at the Norwegian Cup final, so they've got plenty of momentum. They're scoring goals. I mean, I still wouldn't fully trust their defence. I think they'd give up chances, but you know, no doubt they can definitely score plenty of goals. Now, in terms of Lillestrøm, they've faced 2 newly promoted sides. Jerv they beat 4-0, and they drew 2-2 at HamKam on the opening day. Now, that opening day result could easily have been a loss. They came from behind, but definitely there were some defensive deficiencies. And even against Jerv, I noticed Jerv actually got into some reasonable positions. So I think against a better team they might have been punished. And look, I see goals in this game. I like to back over 3 goals. And if we look at the price here, that's both teams to score. But if we go over underline, the bookmakers are not daft here. Over 2.5 is a pretty short price, around 1.5. The 2.75 line is just not even worth considering. But over 3, you can get 1.88 on this, which is not bad. So if it's 3 goals, you get your money back. I think there's at least 3. You could definitely look at both teams to score as well, but the price is a bit skinny. Generally about 1.6, and also there's always a danger Molde completely blow someone out of the water like 4 or 5-0 or 3-0. So that's why I prefer taking over 3 for this game. I think Molde will win, and you know, you could. They're not the worst price actually, but Lillestrøm did draw this game 3-3 last year. They've got decent offense. Akor Adams is in good form. Helland, Assen are in good creative form. So I think there should be at least 3 and hopefully more goals. Odd against Viking Norwegian Eliteserien match this Monday, 5 PM kickoff time in the UK, and I still haven't changed my logo for Odd. I prefer the old version of it. But onto this match then, and it's 100% Viking who travel here. They've won both their matches by 1-0 against Sarpsborg and Ålesund. They're the only side in Eliteserien yet to concede a goal after 2 matches, and it's quite impressive. And their XG against has been low, and they haven't really looked like conceding, in my opinion, which is quite impressive. And it's a change in sort of approach. They seem to have control of matches this year a lot better. They've been known in the last couple of years for outscoring sides, really getting involved in these basketball-style matches, and that seems to have changed, and I can't quite put my finger on it. They might be tested more here, but Odd, I can't really make them out this year. They had a very strange match against Tromsø. They didn't deserve to win. And then they were very unlucky losing to Rosenborg last week. So I don't know. If they play like they did against Tromsø here, then I think Viking will beat them definitely, because I see Viking as a better side than Tromsø. But you know, last week it was an improvement, but they lost. I'm not sure that Odd are going to score that many goals against teams that can defend well. So that's why I definitely lean towards Viking here. And for me, they're the better team. They've got the offensive weapons anyway. At the moment they're defending well, so for me that gives them an edge, and I think at worst they can get a draw here. So I'm looking at the handicaps, and you could take them draw no bet at 1.77, but the Eliteserien is not really known for being a high draw league in terms of percentages, so I might just take a bigger price here, minus 0.25 handicap at 2.07. A bit more of a juicy price. If it's a draw, you lose half of your bet, which is not the end of the earth. But I definitely see like a 1-0 or 2-0 away win. I don't think Odd are a bad side. I just think Viking are better than them right now. And, you know, they just feel like they're in a good place. They're defending well. They've got the goals in Berisha if they need them. They could win a shootout, or they could win a tight one. You know, I like that about this side right now. And nice price on this minus 0.25 handicap. I think they can get the job done. Arlesund against Tromsø, Norwegian Eliteserien match this Monday, 5 PM kickoff time in the UK. And I was close to potentially taking a couple of bets for this match. In the end, I decided not to. But Arlesund have actually impressed me this season so far. They beat Kristiansund 1-0. They lost to Viking 1-0, and it's a different sort of Arlesund to the side that's got relegated the last 2 times it's been in this league. You know, they conceded goals left, right and centre before, and we're just relying on trying to score some goals. But under Lars Arne Nielsen, then I think they're more organised, a bit more disciplined, certainly more of a defensive power about them. Or, you know, they can keep it a bit tighter than they used to. They've got a good goalkeeper in Sten Grytabust, and you know, I don't think they are taking as many risks. So I think you know, certainly I'm thinking of a low scoring game here, because Tromsø are not known for that many goals. They had the most under 2.5 matches last year in Eliteserien. They've started off with a 2-0 loss and a 2-1 win, but I'm not convinced by them in the final third. They missed a lot of chances against Odd. One of the goals they scored against HamKam was a lucky one because the goalkeeper just let it through his gloves. I don't trust the Tromsø offence, and I actually think Arlesund might nick a 1-0 here from, say, a corner or something, or I could see it being a low scoring draw, even a 0-0 potentially, or 1-1. So under 2.5 was what I was looking at. I don't really like unders at the moment though in any league. I'm having a lot of bad luck with them, but if I was to take something, it would be under 2.5 at 1.92 there, which is not the worst price. I think both teams to score no as well might be worth looking at. I could definitely see at least one of them not scoring. Arlesund on a minus 0.25 handicap as well, maybe wouldn't be too bad, or even draw no bet. I think if I had to lean towards a side, it would be on them, and I'm going to predict 1-0, but I'm going to leave this match alone. But I was very close to taking something in it. I fundamentally think it's going to be that low scoring type of affair. Jerv against Kristiansund, Norwegian Eliteserien match this Monday, another 5 PM kickoff time in the UK. And this is a tough game because we've got a Kristiansund side who lost both their matches so far against Ålesund and Sarpsborg. Jerv got an opening day win against Godset, but then lost 4-0 against Lillestrøm. And that opening day win for Jerv was lucky. Let's remember that. They were outgunned something like 0.6 to 2.2 on XG. They were very, very fortunate to win. They don't seem to carry much of an offensive threat so far, so I would suggest they probably won't score in this game. However, Kristiansund have looked poor defensively, so they've got to tighten things up. The pitch here at Jerv is not known for being very good. Certainly this stage early in the season, it's not going to play that great, so it could be maybe a low scoring encounter. Kristiansund, they're confident. They are the better side, no doubt about it on paper, but their confidence is going to be low, and a lot of people might expect them to win this match. And Kristiansund don't always have a great record when they are favourites. They prefer being underdogs when everyone's writing them off. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. However, I do think they'll probably win. They're favourites on a draw no bet handicap, but I just can't trust them at the moment. I would lean both teams to score no if I had to, and that's not a bad price, 2.25. I would lean under 2.5 if I had to, and that's again at about even money. But I've no intention of getting involved in this game because, like I say, Kristiansund at the moment, they're under a bit of pressure. They're not playing that well, and you know, defensively look vulnerable. I liked what I saw from them in the second half last week against Sarpsborg. I feel like maybe offensively something clicked for them, and if they can carry that momentum on, they should have enough to beat Yerv. But you know, tricky place. When you've lost 2 games in a row, everyone thinks you're going to win this one. It might not happen. However, I do think Kristiansand get the 3 points. I'm not going to bet on the game, but I think 1-0 or 2-0 away win in this fixture. Sarpsborg against Rosenborg, a Norwegian Eliteserien fixture. This Monday, 5 PM kickoff time in the UK, and I was maybe a little bit tempted actually to back Rosenborg in this game because their price isn't too bad, but ultimately I'm not going to take anything. But Sarpsborg, for me, were very disappointing. They've actually been disappointing in 3 out of 4 halves they played this season. They beat Kristiansand 3-2 last week, but it was really all thanks to a fantastic first half there. They let Kristiansand back into the game and could have easily drawn that in the end. They were disappointing against Viking on the opening day, losing 1-0 at home. Rosenborg have got 4 points on the board. They haven't looked at their best. You know, they were quite poor against Odd at times last week, but they found a way to get the 3 points, and I think you're going to see a team with strong mental resolve this year. They will grind out results under Kjetil Rekdal. Don't underestimate that. And you know, getting a 2-2 draw at Glimt on the opening day, they had a very good game plan there, and I think Rekdal might just find a way to win this game. It might not be pretty, it will probably be slightly ugly, but I could see Rosenborg nicking the points, something like 1-0, 2-0. And I'm a little bit surprised they're the underdogs, 2.14. Rosenborg are often shorter than they should be because of sheer reputation, their past history and all that lot. I'm really surprised that Sarpsborg are the favourites for this game. I've not seen an awful lot from them. Kristiansand just didn't defend very well last week. Maybe they'll gain a bit of confidence from that win, but there's a lot, for me, there's a lot of question marks over Sarpsborg, and I'm happy to leave this game alone. I would lean towards both teams not scoring, which is quite a juicy price, and I would lean towards under 2.5 goals, which is not a bad price either, but ultimately nothing that is quite tempting enough for me to take. As I say, I think Rosenborg will find a way to win the game, even if they don't deserve it, and even if it's not particularly straightforward and pretty. But don't underestimate the mental resolve of this side. I could just see this being a tight road win. Bodø/Glimt against Vålerenga, Norwegian Eliteserien match this Monday, and it's a 7 PM kickoff time in the UK. This is the late match on. Bodø/Glimt are out of Europe now. They got beaten by Roma convincingly on Thursday night. A great run they had in that competition, and it's been a manic period for them. They've had games left, right and centre. They're playing again on Thursday night in the Cup against Viking, semi-final there. So there's just no rest for this team, and that's my concern about them. You know, at some point they're going to be flat, aren't they, I think, and you know, can they respond from that defeat to Roma? It's going to be tricky. I mean, I think they will win just, but Vålerenga can be awkward opposition potentially. They can hang in games. I mean, Vålerenga themselves have not... My concern for Vålerenga is that they are not looking that good defensively. Molde should have scored 4 or 5 against them in week 1, and even Haugesund had good opportunities last week. But at least the Vålerenga offence did improve against Haugesund. But, I mean, there wasn't exactly facing much. So, I mean, my gut feeling for this game is for goals, and I think under normal circumstances, if both teams had if Bodø/Glimt had a whole week to prepare and they had nothing to look forward to after this game, I would look at take over 3 or something like that. You know, over 3 goals is a decent price at 2.04, and I think both teams to score isn't bad either, 1.75. I could definitely see both hitting the back of the net here. In terms of match result itself, Glimt are quite short price actually. The handicap's -1 or -1.25. I don't think there's a guarantee that covers. Straight on the nose at 1.5 does feel a little bit short. Like I say, they're certainly the better side, and what concerns me is, you know, these matches that have been building up. What have they got left in the tank? Are they looking ahead? So I'm going to leave this match alone. I think it might be a decent watch. Definitely a few temptations. I think overs and both teams scoring would be worth looking at, but I'm not quite convinced enough to take it myself. I'm going to say 2-1 win for Bodø/Glimt, but ultimately no bet in this particular match for me.